This Cybers deck is so powerful that it will make anyone cry blue tears. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Faker and welcome back to the channel. Today we got a brand new deck profile featuring one of the newest or one of the oldest archetypes, and I think is one of the best Cybers decks in this format in Mathmech. Now, if you're not aware, Mathmech is a cyberspace strategy that plays a lot in the graveyard, as well as the ability to spam multiple monsters, and well, you can OTK like a mother slugga lugga lugga. Anyway, let's get right into that deck profile. First of all, we're going to be starting with our triple copies of Mathmech Circular. Mathmech Circular is one of our main starters, whose effect is we can send a Mathmech monster from our deck to the graveyard in order to special summon it to the field. On top of that, if a Mathmech monster is normal or special summon while we control Mathmech Circular, we can trigger its effect to add any Mathmech spell or trap card. This is going to be essential because part of our main combo is the ability to search for one of the main cards in Mathmech Superfactorial. The next card in our deck is going to be Mathmech Diameter. Diameter's effect is when it's normal summon, you can target a level 4 Cybers monster to the graveyard and special summon it, but it cannot activate its effects. Its other awesome effect is when it's used for a synchro summon or an XZ summon of a Mathmech monster. That card gains the effect to negate any effect on the field. So that is one of the key reasons why Diameter is another key part of your deck. The next card in our deck is going to be 2 copies of Mathmech Sigma. Sigma's cool effect is when it is in the graveyard or in your hand, you can special summon it as long as you do not control a monster in the EMZ or extra monster zone. You pair this card with Mathmech Circular because with the circular effect of adding a Mathmech spell or trap card, this makes the Mathmech Superfactorial live, and we'll talk about Superfactorial more down the line. And for the additional Mathmech monsters, I'm running double copies of Addition and Subtraction. You can special summon these by either boosting by 1000 in Addition or subtracting your monster's attack with Subtraction. These are just going to be additional extenders just in case we do get nibbed or something like that. The next card in our deck is going to be Parallel Exceed. Parallel Exceed is one of our main extenders as well as additional follow-up so that we can get into our Mathmech plays. Its main effect is if you link summon a monster, you can special summon Parallel Exceed to the zone that card points to, and if this card is special summoned by the effect of the card, you can special summon another Parallel Exceed from the deck, but both monsters become level 4. And one of the cool things is both the Mathmech Xyz monsters are rank Quattro. As for the hand traps, I am running the triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, who is another essential card for the deck. I think it is one of the most integral hand traps in this format. The next package in our deck is going to be the Psyframe Gear Gamma and the Driver package. The main reason why we're running this is so that we have a more integral or versatile hand trap in our deck, and is also a great use for our small world that we're also running. So of course, if you don't know its effect, if you do not control a monster, you can special summon Psyframe Gear Gamma and the Driver, negate the effect, and then I believe you can destroy or banish the card. I'll have the effect up somewhere here. Psyframe Gear Gamma and Psyframe Driver are perfect targets for our small world package that we're running. I'm also running triple copies of Nibiru. This is a flex spot that we can run, especially nowadays since a lot of the Kashtira players are electing not to go more than 5 summons and ending on Kashtira or Rise Heart. Essentially, you can even drop this to 2 and run a Kaiju, but I'm running this at 3 so that I can have the maximum potential of swapping cards from my side deck. Other than that, I'm also running the singular copy of Effect Veiler. This is just another flex spot. This could easily become Called by the Grave, but I do enjoy having the extra hand trap just in case. You never know what happens, especially in a game where probability is really high. The next card in our deck is going to be Signet Mining. Signet Mining is our way to search for any of our Cybers monsters. By sending one card from our hand, we get to add one. This can be Ash Blossom bait, because if you have the Sigma in your hand, you can use the Signet Mining to discard the Sigma in order to bait out any hand traps. And as mentioned earlier, I'm also on the triple copies of Small World. I honestly think Small World is a decent card in the format. I don't like the fact that it does banish, which is unfortunate, but that is one of those necessary evils. If I have Signet Mining and Small World in my hand, I'll obviously try to send Small World off of Signet Mining because the Signet Mining has more value for a Cybers player than Small World does. As for the only Mathmech spell card that we're running, I'm running the singular copy of Mathmech Equation. Equation is basically the monster reborn for the Mathmech cards, but that monster gains 1000 attack points, so that's a pretty fair shake if you ask me. So the next spell card is Book of Eclipse, and if you don't know, Book of Eclipse allows you to flip all the cards into face down defense position and flip them all back up. Your opponent draws the same amount of cards that were flipped up. I use Book of Eclipse because we are able to get into an access code line where we can destroy all the cards on the field. And lastly, for additional consistency, I'm running the singular copy of Triple Tactics Talents, and if you don't know what Talents does, I did a lot of videos on Talents. Make sure you pick that card up. And as for the trap cards, I'm on the triple copies of Infinite Impermanence, one of the better hand traps in the format because it negates a zone if it's set, or you can play it from the hand. I like this card a lot. Make sure you grab yourself a copy. And one of the weird things that I do versus other Mathmech players is I run 2 copies of Mathmech Super Factorial. The reason behind it is because of decks that like to banish, such as Kashtira and Runic. Sometimes you run into those games where you banish your one singular copy of Mathmech Super Factorial, which really sucks, so having that second one is really beneficial. And again, this makes one of the effects of Prime Mathmech Laplacian live. As for the extra deck, I'm running dual copies of Prime Mathmech Alimbertion. Alimbertion is essential to our combo because once we Xyz into Alimbertion, we automatically will activate its effect, detaching to add a Mathmech card. It could be any Mathmech card, speaking of Equation, Super Factorial, or another Mathmech monster. And the final Xyz monster in the deck that I'm running is Prime Mathmech Laplacian. Laplacian's effect is when it is Xyz summoned, you can detach up to 3 material in order to send a random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard, send a spell or trap card to the graveyard, and then send a monster that your opponent controls to the graveyard. And it has to go in order, so it's going to be sending that random first, then sending a monster, and then sending a spell or trap. Do keep in mind the keyword here is send. So it does not target. Make sure you make that point clear to your opponent that it is sending. We're not targeting with this effect. Now let's talk about links. The first link monster that I'm going to be running is Lingaribo. This gives us protection as well as the ability to get our Parallel Exceed online. Then I'm also running the Link Disciple and Link Devotee package. I really like this package, especially if you can end on an IP board, because you'll be able to make an Apollo USA or Apollosa Bow of the Goddess with at least 4 or 3 material. I really like this package, mainly because I get to draw a card, and your boy loves to draw cards, so that's why I like it so much. Speaking about that, we are running the 1 copy of IP Mascarena. Mascarena's effect allows us to link summon during our opponent's turn, and that will make us our Apollosa Bow of the Goddess. I'm also on the single copy of Cyber's Wicked, who cannot be destroyed if it's in the EMZ, and can help us tutor out Mathmech Diameter. I'm also on the 1 copy of Splash Mage, which is essential for our access code talker line. I'm also on the 1 copy of Update Jammer as well. As for the Link 3s, I'm running 1 copy of Transcode Talker, which allows us to finish up our access code line, as well as the 1 copy of Decode Toka Heat Soul. Heat Soul is one of the great cards because again, it lets us draw a card, and I love drawing cards as mentioned. As for Link 4s, of course, I'm on the 1 copy of Apollosa Bow of the Goddess, who gives us negates as long as the monster has attack points. And lastly, I'm on 2 copies of Access Code Talker. Unfortunately, because of the format that we're in, we have to run 2 copies of our main win condition because Kashtira likes to rip this card all the time. So having this as one of our main win conditions is great. I love Access Code Talker so much. I've gone on rambles about it, but there are certain situations where Boral Sword is going to be better, but for this deck, Axis Code Talker will be the best. And that is my Mathmech Deck profile. I hope you guys really like it. I will be having a combo video coming out within the next couple of days, going over the main combo as well as future upgrades for the deck. But if you guys want to see some more content from me, don't forget to hit that like, hit that sub, and I will talk to you later. Peace out. Links up.